Hi guys, and welcome to episode 2 of our monthly podcast, Beat to the Punch. I'm your host Stephen Donnell, and today we're going to be looking at the latest news in boxing, and we'll preview some shows, and hopefully we will have an interview squeezed in at the end. So a packed show for you for the next hour, and we will start off with looking at the news. Well, there is only one place we can start, and that's with the British World Champion and WBO Middleweight Champion, Billy Joe Saunders, has given up his WBO World title voluntarily. This is due to a failed drug test carried out by VADA. Now, this situation is getting murky and it's getting confusing very quickly. So what I'll do is I'll try my best to explain it, and then I'll just give you my views on it. So, Bill went up in front of the Massachusetts Athletic Commission, and they have denied his application for a boxing licence due to a failed test. Now, where the confusion is starting to come into it is, in the past, the Massachusetts Athletic Commission have adhered to WADA guidelines, and in WADA guidelines, Billy Joe Saunders hasn't done anything wrong. It was a VADA test that he had failed. Now, the argument to that is Billy Joe Saunders had signed up to VADA testing for the fight. So, in one hand, he doesn't have an argument. But then I think that we've got to also look at that the Massachusetts Athletic Commission have no loyalty. The contract isn't with them. VADA is a private company. If the Massachusetts Athletic Commission adhered to WADA in the past, then surely they should be adhering to WADA in the present, because it wasn't a WADA test that he failed, it was VADA. But yesterday it turned into Statement Central. We had the WBO saying that Billy Joe Saunders has given up his world title and he's publicly apologised, which really was a lot of nonsense, because minutes later Frank Warren brings out a statement saying that this is a disgrace and it will be going to the Supreme Court. The Massachusetts Athletic Commission have treated Billy unfairly. Now, this one's going to get messy, it's quite clear, but what is giving me a problem with the full Frank Warren, Billy Joe Saunders side is, why did Billy Joe Saunders not make the WBO make a decision? Why did they give the title up voluntarily? To me, that looks like a sign of guilt or accepting that you've done something wrong. If you haven't done nothing wrong, then you make them make a decision and then you appeal it and you fight for your own corner. Now, in Frank Warren's statement, they says that they gave it up voluntarily due to the mental stress. Now, I've no doubt that there is a lot of mental stress on Billy Joe Saunders at the minute, but, I mean, come on, man, you're not telling me that somebody like Billy Joe Saunders is going to pull away for a fight with WBO if he believes he is innocent, and I think there is also a case that Billy Joe Saunders' actions the last few months, he's finding it very hard to get any public sympathy. And, that's rightly so. I put a tweet out when this was announced that you don't fuck with karma, and I stand by that. Although I think that maybe the Massachusetts Athletic Commission have seen a chance to punish Bill, then they've took it. I think that he has been treated a wee bit unfairly, but then again, it's like, the way he's been acting of late, I find it very hard to feel sorry for him or even stick up for him. But one thing's for sure, it'll probably not be the last time we mention this on a podcast, so it'll be interesting over the next couple of months to see how this one plays out. But it's not looking great for Bill, because also in the WBO statement they have says that they're recommending a 6-month ban. So they've set out their stall. They're saying what they believe, and I think that's quite strong for the WBO. So as I said, we will have to just wait and see how that one plays out. In other news though, I think if you remember back to last month, I had a rant about Mikey Garcia and Manny Pacquiao looking to set up a fight. But it was announced yesterday that Manny Pacquiao has signed a short-term deal with Al Heyman in the PBC. Now the rumour mills are running rife with the suggestion that Manny Pacquiao is going to be fighting Adrian Broner at 147. Now, just for the start, I just want to say that this fight will need to happen outside the USA because obviously, I spoke about this the last time, Manny Pacquiao has serious tax problems in the US and it wouldn't be financially viable for him to have a fight there. But I like this fight. You know, I don't rate Adrian Broner. He shouldn't be up at 147, so he's not great up at that weight. And I actually think that Manny Pacquiao would beat him. Now, the rumours are that the one of the risk gets to fight Floyd Mayweather. That I'm not interested about. But I think if you just look at Adrian Broner and Manny Pacquiao, that's a great fight. It's a great fight, and it's a great way for Al Heyman to fill one of these many TV slots due to his new deal. With a fantastic fight. You know, it's a fight that's going to bring the fans in, and I would really hope that fight comes off. Now, just touching on it there, that the other big news since we were last on was that Al Heyman has now signed a TV deal with Fox. Now, this now means that Al's now splitting his services between two major platforms, and Showtime and Fox, which is really what the PBC have been needing, because those guys at the PBC only fighting 1 and 2 times a year. I mean, we're seeing it now with Errol Spence. That kid has to be fighting. He's special, you know. He's in the pound for pound list, if you ask me. He's one of the best fighters out there. But he's so bloody inactive that it's hard to still be a fan of him. You know, but now the PBC are going to have all these slots to fill, and they certainly have the in-house talent to make some great fights on these cards. But there is the argument that these TV deals have now pushed the Crawford and Spence fight even further back. And I wrote an article about this the other day, which you can check out in djboxing.com. And what it's saying is, with all these big TV deals being launched in the US, these guys are going to have a responsibility of filling these deals. So letting guys cross over to a different platform is now going to be practically off the table. In boxing right now, I don't think there's going to be a better time or a more lucrative time to be a free agent and not be tied down to one promoter. I think that we will see mid-level guys now be stopped from fighting. I can see titles being dropped. Because at the end of the day, if you've got 100 odd TV slots to fill, you cannot allow any of your draws to go across, and that works vice versa for all of them. Now, I would say the only saving grace for Crawford and Spence is that should be a pay-per-view fight. If it does happen, that will be a pay-per-view fight, which means that we're getting back to what pay-per-views are actually supposed to be for. Pay-per-views, the concept here was to make fights that wouldn't be viable otherwise without that extra money. So, you know, let's hope that a bit of common sense comes in, because I don't think that Spence can stay at 147 for too much longer. So if that Bud Crawford and Errol Spence Jr fight's going to come off, it really has to, the works really need to be put in the now. The wheels have to be set in motion right now to get that fight made for 12 months. And the way it's looking, I seen Bob Arum actually telling Al Heyman to fuck off the other day, because when he's putting the feelers out, that he's getting absolutely zero response for the PBC and Al Heyman. But you can actually see what Heyman's doing. Heyman has 147 sewn off. He has Danny Garcia, he has Sean Porter, he has Errol Spence. He can do a round robin with him and make massive fights, and all leaves Bud Crawford in a very weak position. So let's just hope a bit of common sense and comes through. I mean, I do agree that Errol Spence has to be built a bit more as well as Bud Crawford, but these two guys are two of the most special talents in boxing, not just in the division, but in boxing. It would be an absolute crime if they never get round to fighting each other. I couldn't actually do the news this month without mentioning the Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder absolute just nonsense which is coming out. Now, we wouldn't be able to do the news this month if we didn't talk about the ongoing saga, which is the full negotiation, public negotiation between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Now, this Matchroom's position is they want this fight negotiated before Deontay Wilder fights Tyson Fury, which is bizarre. Because what they're actually saying is they want Deontay Wilder to undervalue himself. I mean, what if Deontay Wilder goes out and absolutely flattens Tyson Fury, does something that nobody else has done, absolutely just wipes the floor with him? Why is he then going to go into a fight that he's already pre-negotiated before his stock has just risen through the roof? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I'm seeing today that Eddie Hearn is saying that they want the fight negotiated, but meetings have to start now in October because this fight isn't done overnight. I mean, the fight might not be done overnight, but does it take 6 months to negotiate? I don't think so. I just think that the way that Matchroom, Eddie Hearn has come off in this full saga is terribly. You know, they've definitely lost the PR battle, and it's got to a stage now where they're looking pathetic. You know, you've got old man Hearn out saying, oh, well, we've made an offer and we've not had a phone call today, so that just shows you that Wilder doesn't want to fight. This is Deontay Wilder that's about to get into the biggest fight of his life, the biggest heavyweight fight in, about 2 years. You know, and they want Wilder and his team to be focusing on a fight that might happen in April. And then there's also the fact that, what if Tyson Fury beats Wilder? You know, he's going to have a rematch clause in there, so that will be Deontay Wilder but busy. You know, and these two fights could end up being barnstormers, so why would Wilder want to negotiate now? Why would he take his eyes off the prize? I mean, it's a proven fact that that's the best way to walk yourself right into a loss, is by not concentrating on the guy in front of you, but concentrating on the guy the next fight down the line. It's not great. We've just seen it with Beltran and Pedraza. You know, Beltran had his eyes on Lomachenko and Pedraza went out and wiped the floor with him. So I think that Wilder's team are doing the right thing. You know, they've got themselves into a position which is quite impressive, that they actually have Eddie Hearn dancing to their tune, which is really good. And I've got a feeling that I've just got a sneaky suspicion that this Wilder and Fury fight is going to be a massive success. You know, I think it's going to do really well in the gates, which we all know the American gate receipts blow British gate receipts out the water. And I've got a feeling that I think it's going to do round about the 1 million pay-per-views, which would be crazy for somebody like Deontay Wilder. I mean, it was only a few months ago Eddie Hearn was in the street mocking them, stopping people and saying, do you know Deontay Wilder? Do you know Deontay Wilder? What it didn't tell you is that if you stop somebody in the street in New York and says, do you know Anthony Joshua? They would say no. Nobody knows. Nobody cares about Anthony Joshua over there. Boxing isn't a massive sport in the US. You know, they've got that many big sports that boxing comes very low down. It's to say, it's not like Britain where it's just exploded. In the US, it's still a niche. So if Deontay Wilder goes out there and absolutely flattens Fury, then he then becomes the biggest star in the US in the heavyweight division, and that also gives him leverage. You know, if that fight is going to make the biggest money, it will be in the US. There is no doubt about that. So if Deontay Wilder then becomes a star in the US and is making more money than Anthony Joshua, how then can Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua then start making these massive demands of Wilder? You know, it's going to have to be a serious offer. In fact, it would need to be close to 50-50 if you're wanting Wilder to come to the UK for that fight and not take it in the US, where it would make more money and ultimately give him a bigger purse. You know, I'm not saying that Wilder's a bigger star than Anthony Joshua. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's potentially going to be a bigger star in the biggest market. You know, a market which blows Britain out the water financially. So for him to come to the UK, he would be taking a drop in money. So then, therefore, when he's demanding 50-50, he's not saying that he's as big a star as Anthony Joshua. That's not what he's saying. But for him to come across the Atlantic and fight in Britain, he's going to be losing out in a purse. So therefore, that has to be made up by AJ's side. Now, see, when we're seeing it, and Eddie Hearn's telling you, oh, he's wanting 50-50, there's no doubt that Anthony Joshua is at A-side. But that's what he's totally neglecting to admit. What is Wilder losing out on by coming to the UK? And that's why I think that they can't negotiate this deal right now. Wilder is just about to win the fight of his life. And when you think about it, he's just coming off of beating Ortiz as well. This could have been, 2018 could have been a massive year for Deontay Wilder. It could be the year where it changed. He actually became a star instead of an unknown. And, you know, I actually think he's going to do it, which might actually be damaging to trying to make AJ Wilder. Well, that should do us for the news just now. Let's move on to some previews.
Police walked in for Jimmy Jazz. I said he ain't here, but he's showing by. Oh, they're looking for Jimmy Jazz.
Really can be a bit of a clash. So this weekend, I don't want to focus too much on this weekend because it'll be out of date tomorrow. But we have Martin Pacquiao fighting Michael Hunter at York Hall. If you can attend. It's going to be a great card. We have Lee McGregor fighting for the Commonwealth title as well on that card. But we have Martin Pacquiao finally getting his chance to step up against Michael Hunter. Now Hunter was a good cruiserweight. I would probably say one of the best performances against Alexander Usyk came from Hunter. But in the last show we had Billy Nelson on, who is Martin's trainer, and he was telling us that like, Martin's got everything he needs. You know, Martin's got everything he needs to make it to the very top. Now, if that's true, then this is going to be the first step in the ladder for him. You know, I think he'll do it. I think he will get a stoppage. From what I've heard for everybody, for Stephen Simmons and that, is that Martin's very heavy-handed, but he's a very technical boxer as well. And Stephen Simmons has been, he's been sparring with guys like Tony Bellew and all that. And Stephen Simmons says to you, he's like, he doesn't fight like a heavyweight. He fights like one of the lower weights. He's very mobile, he's very technical, and he'll always find a way to hit you. So here's hoping that Martin actually puts on a big performance in front of the TV audience, because he's headlining the show and it's going to be live on Channel 5. So here's hoping that Martin actually puts on a good show, and this is a start. This is a start of something very special. Also this weekend we have the second instalment of the World Boxing Super Series Season 2. I know that there's other weights fighting, but it's really the bantamweight tournament that's got me. You know, and this weekend we're getting to see Zolani Tete take on Mikhail Aloyan. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, or I'm going to look a bit of an idiot. But I've got to admit, I've not seen anything Aloyan. But from what I've been reading up on the lad, he's quite good, you know. And I think that Tete can sometimes be dragged down to an opponent's level. You know, I think Tete on his day is one of the best in the division. Probably, you know, he's up there. I think it's up between him and Ryan Burnett to be the second in the division. But I think that Zolani Tete does have a habit of if he's not up for it, then he can fight down to an opponent's level. You know, he has been involved in a couple of stinkers that really should have been blowouts. But I think that's what this fight depends on. If Tete brings his A game, I don't even see this lasting that long, you know. But if he doesn't, then I think he's running a risk, because this fight, he's fighting away from home, he's fighting in Russia, and one thing is, you don't really want to be leaving it up to the judges' scorecards. Now, I know the World Boxing Super Series, so far their judging has been absolutely flawless. You know, they've kept it fair, and it's kept the tournament prestige at a very high level. You know, it's actually been quite refreshing for the sport. But, you know, you still don't want to run that risk. Zolani Tete has to come and bring his A game and blast this guy out. Last week, we already seen Noyanui set down the marker. You know, it took him the whole of 2 punches landed in the first round to dispose of his opponent. You know, I don't think that this bantamweight tournament is... I don't actually think it's that close. You know, I think Inoue is far too big. He's a monster. He hits far too hard for these guys. and I just don't see how Burnett or Tetty can get past them. But if we can get them to a final, either Burnett or Tetty, then that's an accomplishment in itself to take on Inoue. There's no like shame in losing to somebody like Inoue, and if you can go out and make a fight yet, then I always say if you can go out and make it close and make it a good hard fight, then there's no loser really. You might not walk away with the belts, but you walk away with the respect, and you walk away with the respect to the fans, and that's got a big value, that's got a big price tag on it, the respect to the fans. If you go and put in a good show, then they'll want to see you again. So, how do I see this one going? Well, I mean, Aloan is still a bit he is a really unknown in the pro ranks, but the guy's coming in here with a fantastic amateur pedigree. I mean, he won bronze at London 2012, and I think he's got a European title to his name as well at amateur. So, I mean, he shouldn't be taken too lightly, but Tetty should by now, and he is really, he's a seasoned pro, and he's one of the best in the division. There's nothing like a baptism of fire for Aloan, but he does have home advantage as well, which is another big factor in this. But I think that Tetty will bring his A game. He's going to have to bring his A game. I think that if he doesn't come in here bringing his best version of himself, there's every chance that he could leave himself open. And I mean, as I said, there's nothing worse than looking past your next opponent. I mean, this might not be as straightforward as what a lot of people are thinking. That's all I'm going to say on it. But I will back Tetty. You can't no back Tetty. Anybody that's smart enough and isn't trying to be a hipster is going to back Zolani Tetty here. But it's just one to keep your eye out for. I think if there's going to be an upset this weekend, that's maybe where it could be. Also this weekend we have a cracking fight domestically here in the UK, and it's Glenn Foote facing off with Robbie Davies Jr. It's a cracking fight. It's on the Matchroom card, which will be live on Sky Sports on Saturday night. Great fight. I went to see Glenn Foote. I will never make the mistake of underestimating Glenn Foote again. I went to see him fight Jason Easton in Glasgow, and Jason's a hard young fella, and Glenn Foote took the best of what Easton could hit him with, before stopping Easton and putting him down multiple times. He really did do a job in Jason. So after that, he won me over as a fan. Robbie Davies Jr. Robbie Davies is probably the most skilled boxer, more refined boxer out of two of them. But I think when you look at Glenn Foote is one of these people that can drag you into his kind of fight. I mean, we've seen it against Josh Leather, where I think Josh Leather got the decision, but I don't think that Josh Leather won that fight. Glenn Foote was robbed that night, in my opinion. So, I mean, although I fancy Robbie Davies Jr. to probably win this, I would say that he would win it. I don't know, I really have problems with myself betting against Glenn Foote, because time and time again he proves people wrong. He's actually won me over as a big fan. So I'm not actually going to give a prediction on this one. Do you know what? I'm not going to give a prediction. I think that Robbie Davies probably will have enough, but you just can't bet against somebody like Glenn Foote. But this is definitely the fight of the weekend. If you're going to watch any boxing this weekend, make sure that it's this fight. Well, that'll probably do us for the previews for the show. But if you enjoy the previews, we write them up on djboxing.com, and you can check them out on Spreaker. We do bite-sized pods, and they're only 5-10 minutes long, and if I've not got time to write up a preview, I'll fire out a wee podcast for it, so if you enjoy it, check them out.
Trouble, bad dog in my soul since the day I was born. Worry just will not seem to leave my mind alone.
Yeah, we're joined on the line from all the way from America by Chris Langley. Chris, how's things?
Oh, I'm great, Steve. Yourself? Very good.
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Well, I just thought we would maybe get like some of the American perspective on some of the big news that we've had. So we'll just start with the ongoing saga one. I've already had a rant on the news segment about this, but I just want to get your views. So what's it like over there with the Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder things? What's like the fan perspective over there?
Oh, well, as you could probably tell, I'm British myself, Stephen. I mean, I moved over here 3 years ago. I mean, the Anthony Joshua and Wilder fight is probably the fight that we want to have over here. It's been a long time since there's been an opportunity for the heavyweight division to unify. I don't think there's a bigger fight in the heavyweight division than this one at the moment. So I think personally, if they can get over here in America, it'd be a massive, massive fight. Definitely.
Yeah, but
I'm a big AJ fan.
With this Wilder Fury fight coming up, what's the feeling like over in the States? Does this feel as if it's going to be a commercial success, or is it struggling a bit?
Well, judging by how they're promoting it, I mean, you've seen on the TV what kind of shenanigans these two are getting up to. I mean, they seem to be promoting it pretty well. I mean, it's going to be an interesting fight for sure. I think Tyson Fury is an interesting character. He's a good heavyweight. Whether or not he'll beat Wilder, I don't know. It's a 50-50 fight, but I think, it's all good for the heavyweight division, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's about time that we need to get more of the best fighting the best, because it's not exactly a strong division. So the talent we do have, we need to have them fighting each other,
Yeah, it's been very, very restricted. I mean, there's, as you said, there's not many in the top pool of the division that can really offer what the top guys can. I mean, it was a pretty spectacular fight with Anthony Joshua Povetkin. I thought that really showed the guy, how classy a fighter he is. Really, I think he did a great show.
Yeah.
And when he brought over here, definitely. But I think Anthony Joshua personally is the number one heavyweight for me. I might be a little bit how do we say? Favourite. I'd certainly favourite him. That's for sure. Definitely.
With the PR battle with AJ Wilder stuff, I mean, I don't for 1 second think that it's Anthony Joshua that's got the problem here. I think it's the people that's making the money off Anthony Joshua's throwing up barriers where and when they can. But do you think with this Wilder Fury coming up, do you think that they're being unreasonable demanding that this fight starts being negotiated now? Because as there's that many unknowns with Wilder, his last fight against Ortiz, it was a great fight. Now he's fighting against Fury.
Yeah.
Now, would it be irresponsible to negotiate a deal when in actual fact he could end up a big pay-per-view success in the States in December? Do you think that would be a bit irresponsible, a Team Wilder to negotiate a deal this side of the fight?
It's a little bit premature, certainly. Yeah, I mean, but I think they're just building everything up to next April. It looks like that seems to be the next big date for boxing. So we've just got to get this fight out of the way with and see who wins. I personally think it's going to be a very, very close fight. I mean, they've got two very big hitters in there. Fury is, as much as my views of Fury is, he's a very good fighter. Wilder has got one heck of a punch, although I don't think he's been that great since he's been a champion, to be honest. He used to be a very destructive fighter. He won the championship and he kind of lost that aggressive kind of, the aggression, it seems. He hasn't got the same sort of punch power he used to. I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, you find that maybe sometimes you lose a killer instinct, as you move up.
I mean, I think since he's won the world title, he's lost that kind of almost killer instinct where he used to go in and just absolutely destroy any opponent he had in front of him. He was quite a formidable opponent, but whether or not he'll last as heavyweight champion, we'll have to see what the WBC think.
Yeah, and this kind of like talking AJ Wilder kind of moves us on. The next part is it's like the zone. The numbers that we're getting rumoured over here is that they only did 15 to 20,000 buys. The Apple did 15 to 20,000 buys for the AJ fight. Do you think that DAZN's going to be a success in the US, that it actually needs that AJ Wilder, it needs AJ Wilder fight done and dusted, really.
Yes, it does. I mean, I'm very in favour of the zone. To be honest, I was really pleased when they when it was announced, because, to be honest with you, Stephen, boxing over here is a very, very expensive thing to view. When I first moved over here 3 years ago, I remember seeing those Sugar Shane Mosley pay-per-view for $65. I'm not paying that.
Yeah, it's crazy in comparison.
I'm paying $10 a month now for the zone, which I think, for a boxing fan, it's a pretty good deal. The boxing fans in England are really, really spoiled by what's on offer. You've got Box Nation, you've got Sky Sports, you've now got BT in the mix as well. And over here, it's kind of splitting up. I mean, we just had HBO have now announced that they're not going to be doing boxing anymore after 30 odd years in the business. I mean, that was quite a surprise. But it just shows how TV viewing is changing, and online seems to be kind of making, it's a different way of viewing boxing. I'm very for it, to be honest.
Yeah, well, just also in the last month, we've had Al Heyman also announced his new deal with Fox, as well as his deal with Showtime. And then you've got DAZN with, these people have got 40 dates or whatever to fill a year. Do you think that's going to damage the standard of boxing? With, because we aren't going to get crossover fights, because why would Eddie Hearn like Danny Jacobs or whatever go and fight on Fox when Eddie Hearn has a DAZN date to fill, and vice versa with Al Heyman and Top Rank, because they have the ESPN. Do you think we're going to start seeing a slump in the standards shows?
Oh my goodness, I do hope not. I mean, it's boxing and politics has always been at the forefront, because it's all about the money, isn't it? So when you've got deals of $125 million going into the pot every year for a TV channel, money talks, I think. It's going to be an interesting few years. I think the next few years is going to be very important as to what's going to be happening with boxing on the TV over here, especially in America, because it's a very different model that they have over here to what they have in Britain.
Well, it feels like even the model in America is now evolving, because HBO's pulled out the business because there only really is one pay-per-view star left in the US, and that's Canelo Alvarez, who I think actually is who's now a free agent, for what I understand. So really, with all these big TV deals being announced, Canelo Alvarez could be quids in, because he's no tied down to ESPN, Fox, DAZN, he could bounce between them, so I think he's in a great position. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's something good has got to come out of this, I think. And if we can get more boxers fighting each other for different belts, and it's all the more better for the fight fans, because that's all we want to see is good fights. That's it. Yeah, and just to finish up, I know that you're a Bud Crawford fan like myself.
Just a bit.
Just a bit, yeah. Just with ESPN Plus app being launched, and that's Crawford's platform, and now Errol Spence is going to be, it's like PBC, Al Heyman, so you'll either be Showtime or Fox. Do you think that this fight is now becoming, it's not going to be makeable?
Oh my goodness, it comes down to politics again, doesn't it? It comes down to the money. It comes down to, there's so many different variants that they can do. But I mean, this is the fight you all want to see as well. I mean, we've got a Terence Crawford fighting tomorrow in Omaha, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to. That's going to be a superbly exciting fight, I think. And we'll just see how he does tomorrow. But I think it'll be Bud Crawford, as far as I'm concerned, is the number one fighter in the world.
Yeah, for me too. But what I was thinking is, maybe this is where the pay-per-view model is actually going to be needed. Now, I'm a critic of the pay-per-view model, but if the only way we're going to get Al Heyman and Bob Arum to sit down together is if they're making crazy amounts of money, maybe that pay-per-view might be able to save this fight. But are they big enough stars in the US to be able to pull off a pay-per-view?
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends. I mean, as I said, I mean, I've seen some shocking pay-per-view fights over here since I've been here. You know, the money people are asking to watch a couple of guys fight. I just think it just depends on the politics, really. I think that's what it all comes down to.
Yeah. Well, Chris, I know that you're busy and you're working from home today, so thanks very much for coming on and joining us, and I hope to get you on again, you know, because it's good having somebody across the sea, across the ocean that can actually understand what I'm saying and give us a perspective.
Anytime. No, I've really enjoyed it. No, thanks very much for inviting me, Stephen. Much appreciated.
Right, cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right, you take care.
Right,
bye.
Bye. Well, that was Chris Langley, all the way for the US, giving us the US boxing fans' perspective on things. Let's move on to the next segment. Well, this is usually the part of the show where we would have a must-see, but I have really took the last 2 weeks as a break away from boxing. I haven't watched a lot of it, and you know, I've been just kind of enjoying a bit of time home with my wife. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you a little story that I'd read. I'd actually marked it out to put in this segment, but it's all really cast aside for it. So what it was a Jack Dempsey story. Jack Dempsey, former heavyweight world champion, but after he finished boxing, he became a promoter. On his way to a show that he was promoting in the Yankee Stadium, he was stopped in traffic, and people recognised him. And Jack, being the kind of guy he was, you know, he was out to his adoring fans, and they were asking for tickets for the big fight. So Jack, being Jack Dempsey, gets into his pocket, gives away the tickets, you know, makes his fans happy. So he finally gets to the arena and he's late, and he gets up to the door and he goes to give his own ticket to get in, and he's gave it away. So he's sitting there and he's saying to the security, listen, I'm Jack Dempsey, you'll need to let me in. But security, not being a boxing fan, doesn't know who Jack Dempsey is. So he's sitting there and he's arguing with the man, and he's saying, this is my show, I'm promoting this, you need to let me in. And the security is no for budging. But in the raised voices, another member of staff hears him, and he says, comes up and says, excuse me, you need to let this man in. Do you not know who this is? And he says, all right. He's like, I just thought he was a chancer at it. He says, no, you need to let him in. And as Jack Dempsey's getting in, he thanks the guard, and the guard says, no bother, Mr. Schmelling. Well, that is all I've got time for in today's show. We were supposed to be having an interview with David Brophy, but that's been put further back in the week, so watch out for that to be uploaded. Thanks for joining us again. My name's Stephen Donnell. This has been Beat to the Punch, and you guys have been awesome.